In this video, we're going to be optimizing our environment so that it works well, more optimized. So in order to actually optimize the environment, what we're going to do is just first of all clean up the code, and we're also going to remove the threads because there's only one thread right now. Because what I did was when I implemented the agent, I saw that the threads were making it lag a lot. So we're just going to remove the threads and create a simple update function. So to do that, we're just first of all we're going to just completely delete out our update countdown function, and we'll just say pass for now. And then same thing for our reset function. We'll just say pass. And now in the init, what we're going to do is we're going to actually just remove the threads. So we're going to remove this, and this. And we're also going to say instead of none, we're going to, instead of a text object, self.countdown text is going to be none. So now we're actually also going to create a new function called reset countdown. So this will be called every time our environment resets and also when it initializes. So in reset countdown, what we're going to do is we're going to say if self dot countdown text is not none. So if it's not none, which means it exists already, then self dot countdown text dot will say visible equals false. And then outside of the if statement, we'll say the countdown text. So we're going to define a local variable. It's not self.countdown text. That will be a string of, it'll be self.countdown start, like this. And then we're going to say the self.countdown text position dot x. So that'll be -7, just like this. And we're going to say the self dot, we're going to actually redefine the text here, or we're going to create a new object here. There will be another text object. The actual text will be countdown text, and then the position will be self.countdown text position. The color is self.countdown color. The height is the self.countdown height. And lastly, the depth is self.countdown depth, just like this. And then up here in our init, we're also going to call that. So we'll call it after everything. So we'll say self dot reset countdown, like this. So that will reset the countdown, and we're also going to call that in the reset function. So self dot reset countdown, like this. And then we're also going to say self dot timeout equals false, and we're going to say we're going to also define a new variable self dot last reset. I'll show you why. That'll be time dot monotonic, and we're also going to define that up here. So let's say somewhere here self dot last reset equals time dot monotonic. And then here in the update countdown, what we'll do is we're actually going to we're just going to update the countdown, but instead of a while loop and stuff like that, it's just going to keep checking every frame, or every time it's called, it's going to check how much time has passed. So we'll say self dot countdown text dot visible. That will be false again. And then the countdown text, again it's a local variable, it's not the self.countdown text. That will be string, and we're going to round it. It'll be self.countdown start. And we're going to subtract, we're going to open some brackets here. We'll say time dot monotonic, which means the current time minus the last reset time. So that will say if we reset at, like, let's say 6:10 p.m. and the current time is like 6:20 p.m., we'll know it has been 10 minutes. Obviously, it's not AM and PM, and it's also not going to run for 10 minutes, but that was just an example. Now we'll say the self dot countdown text position dot x. So in the x direction, that will be -7 if the length of countdown text. If that is equal to 2, else it will be negative 3 like we said in the previous video. Basically, if it's 2 digit, then the x will be negative 7, so it aligns in the middle. Or if it's 1 digit, the x will be negative 3. And then we'll say the countdown color. That will be self.countdown color if the countdown text is not equal to 0. So if it's not equal to 0, then it will be countdown color. Else if it is equal to 0, it will be not countdown color. It will be the timeout color, self.timeout color. And then we're going to again redefine countdown text. So self.countdown text will be a text object. The text equals countdown text. The position is self.countdown text position. And then the color is countdown color. The height is obviously self.countdown height, and the depth is, well, self.countdown depth, like this. And we're also going to say one last thing. We're going to say self.timeout. That's equal to countdown text equal 0. So if countdown text is 0, or actually not 0, because if it's 0, then in our other main loop, we're going to be checking if it's 0, then reset. So we're not actually going to see 0. So we're going to say if it's negative 1, then we have timed out. So that we can actually see 0 and it'll be there for 1 second and then it'll go to negative 1. But since as soon as it times out, then we reset, so we won't actually see negative 1. And that is that. And what else we have to do is we have to actually, we'll go up here, and that actually should be all. So in test.py, we can just remove all this. We can say from environment, we're going to import our environment. And then we're going to say environment, or we're just going to say n equals environment. And then what we're going to do is we'll just reset the environment. So n dot reset. It's good practice to call it, even though we just initialize it and it should be reset. It's good practice to call it. And then we'll just say while true. We'll say if n dot timeout. So if we've timed out, we'll say n dot reset. So if we go ahead and run this, we'll say python test.py. You can see the countdown is not counting, but everything else looks fine. We can turn and we can do all that stuff. So how do we fix the countdown? Since it's not counting, we actually haven't even called this update countdown here. So if we need to call that, otherwise it's not going to update the countdown. So we're going to define a new function. We're going to say def just update, just like this. So def update. And in our def update, we're going to say we're just going to call self dot update countdown. Just that's all. So now here, every frame, no matter if the environment has timed out or not, if we say end dot update, now it should update. So we'll say python test.py. And yeah, you can see it's updating. And even though it's not in a new thread, we can still print stuff in here. Because what I would have thought is, before what I thought was, if it would just be easier if it was in a new thread, but then I realized the thread was actually lagging everything. So now if we remove the thread and just call this update, we can obviously put gravity, we can put our simulations in the update function, just like we did update countdown, and we can just call that. This is what I did in the first iteration of the RL learning from scratch episode. But what happened was the Q learning was taking too long. It was taking too long, and what that did it was a blocking call. So like I was training the Q agent here, I was training the agent here, and this was taking like some zero point 0.5 seconds or something like that. And that would, if this is taking zero point 0.5 seconds, then the update cannot execute. So that means that sometimes the countdown wouldn't work properly, it would lag after some time, it would update, stuff like that. But I realize it's better if we, I guess we can try to have the actual deep Q learning in another thread, and the entire like GUI, the visual stuff, will be in the main thread. So we could have deep Q learning in the main, in a separate background thread. We'll look at that in later videos. But that's it for this video. We have updated it, and we've optimized it so that it doesn't require threads. And yeah, that's it for this video. And I also started a new YouTube channel with my friend. It's called Pi and Pi. I'll leave a link to it somewhere on the screen. But if you like this video, you should probably check out that channel. We just started uploading. So yeah, that's it for this video. Okay, bye.